The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
There you go.
Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And it is Hump Day, Wednesday in the Rib.
And it's after a city council meeting, 2 days after.
2 days after a council meeting, which we will get into. But I have to say, breaking news. I turned on the television this morning, and I was so pleased. People are waking up. You know, first we booted out they booted out the three progressives in ultra-liberal Seattle.
Yep.
And last night they recalled and booted out Chesa Bodine in San Francisco.
The liberal district attorney.
Who would have thunk it? A ultra-liberal who was thrown in there by millions of dollars from George Soros, whose both parents are serving life for murder in a Brinks robbery, who was brought up by the Weathermen. Remember the Weathermen, the ultra left wing militant group in the 70s? You know, they had a lot of them, the Black Panthers, a lot of them. But he was brought up by a militant. He doesn't believe in criminals. Criminals are created by. You got to give them all breaks, and they're created by society. And as usual, when he got blown out. 60-40 in San Francisco, where you couldn't find a Republican if you had a mine detector.
That's right.
You couldn't find them. I mean, probably they said one of the most liberal. It may be the most liberal city in the United States. It was also used to be, before guys like Bodine got out, one of the most beautiful city in the United States. Now it's a disaster, crime, drugs. The Tenderloin district, which is a pretty famous district in San Francisco.
Yes, it is.
Has now become a tent city for drug addicts, all kinds of crime. Well, it shows even the liberals can get fed up.
Yeah.
After it directly affects them, they can get upset enough to boot them out. So they got a recall, and they did it. So we can say, send us a thank you note. We did it in Fall River first.
Well, I'll tell you. I did a stint out in the Bay Area. Yeah. I stayed in Pacifica, which is just outside of South San Francisco. And I used to go into the city all the time after work. And it was always beautiful. There wasn't a lot of crime in the tourist areas, like along Fisherman's Wharf, the Tenderloin district. Yeah. But if you went down Market Street to what square was that now? United Nations Plaza, they called it. You had all the bums, all of them there. They were taking a bath in the fountain. They were taking baths every day. You'd see them taking baths in the fountain. They'd be washing their clothes in there, everything. And that was about the only area you saw it. So people would migrate away from that, and that was a business district. Now I wouldn't feel comfortable being in. Well,
but you know, in the old days when we actually had law and order in the country, it was like that everywhere. I mean, New York forever, the Bowery. Yeah. That's where you went to see the bums. Right. The Boweries. You know, the Bowery bums. Mm-hmm. You'd go down there and they'd be sleeping in the gutters, and you know, there's always an area, because it's not. You can't pretend like the liberals do that things don't exist. Right. Like crime and drug addiction. Because that's what they did. They started, remember, in the 70s saying, yeah, this is your brain on drugs. They spent hundreds of billions of dollars, and then they realized that everything they do at throwing money at it doesn't work, and now they've just accepted it, and they're giving them needles, and they made it into a multi-billion-dollar business with constantly turning them over and sending them over to rehab and giving them needles and giving them pipes. But that's the problem. But, you know, we have to take heart. Everything is cyclical. Everything, there's a pendulum that swings. Like Hegel said, thesis, antithesis, synthesis. Everything swings. It swings back. So now people are getting fed up. I mean, it takes them a lot, unfortunately. It takes them a lot. They're up to their eyeballs in crime. I mean, New York City used to be able to walk around Times. Now they're pushing people off subway cars.
Right.
They had a video of some guy grabbing a woman by the hair and just dragging her out because he wanted that entire seat for himself, and just throwing her on a seat on the other side. Everybody's just looking and they're filming it, but nobody does anything. You know, carjackings. It's just, you know, the society has broken down because these people just will not address the issue. They will not see reality. So, but Chesa Boudin and the recall in San Francisco, and remember, Gascon's next in L.A. He's up. They're recalling his butt, too. And then you'll see it come to New York with Kim Foxx, and you'll see it in Jersey. And speaking of that, there is a incipient recall in Fall River right now, so who knows what's going to happen, because remember,
it started here.
When people get fed up to their eyeballs with being stomped on, they will rise up like they did with the recall of Flanagan. They were sick and tired of the way they were being ignored, and the city was running up debt. And now we have the budget meetings, and we see you see the outrage beginning to build up. You see people making little comments on you know, saying that, you know, this is inexcusable when they actually have the temerity, the audacity, the gall to get up in front of the council and say, we're paying people outside the ordinance. Mm-hmm. And tough luck. That's what we're doing. And even though it's illegal.
Correct.
Illegal. They all put their hand in. I'm sending them a letter. Like I said, I'm not afraid to say it. You know, on yesterday's show that we had one guy going, you don't do it. Well, we have the courage to say it, and
we put our name on it.
And we put our name on it.
That's it.
And I'm going to send the council a letter and tell them that when they had that ridiculous motion to reject the budget, that was the budget in its entirety. And part of that budget is illegal spending by city officials, which is obviously illegal and a crime. I believe a while back, the Corporation Council said you can't do it.
That's right.
And yet the mayor is still doing it.
And in response to that, the mayor sent down to the city council a proposed ordinance to change the pay scales.
Yeah.
He wanted everything changed to either not less than, not to exceed, or per contract, I believe it was. And now the city council didn't pass those. They're still sitting in limbo somewhere. So the mayor said, the hell with it.
I'll do it anyway.
I'll do it anyways.
I'll do it anyway. It's illegal, but who cares?
Who cares? That's right.
Who cares? And this is what I'm going to fundamentally say in my letter. I'm going to tell the council, you put up your hand, you swore an oath to uphold the laws of the United States, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and the city of Fall River.
And what's an ordinance?
An ordinance. Well, I'll pull it up, but I'll paraphrase it right now.
Just paraphrase it,
I looked it up. Chapter 43, in case you're looking for it. Look at under first Article 1 definitions. An ordinance. It talks about what an ordinance is, but it says it is a permanent control of something. So in other words, you can't do it unless you change the ordinance.
Correct.
Because that becomes the law.
Right.
And I am going to remind the city council that if they approve a budget with the mayor illegally paying people,
they've created an illegal budget.
They have done something illegal, and they have authorized an illegal budget. There should have been, the minute that the Corporation Council said you can't do it, the city council should have said, cease and desist to the mayor. You're violating the law, but they didn't. And the mayor has fundamentally de facto admitted he knows he's doing something illegal by exactly what you just said. He sent down.
Correct.
And tried to change it legislatively.
Right.
And when he didn't get his way, he gave the finger again to the people of Fall River and say, I'm going to pay my people whatever the hell I want to pay them, and ordinance be damned.
And at that city council meeting, Sean Kadim and Michelle Dion. Sean Kadim made the motion. Michelle Dion seconded it. Made a motion to reject the budget in its entirety because the mayor and the city administrator did not want to give them the numbers. So Pam, Sean, and Michelle voted in the affirmative to vote that down, to reject the budget. Andrew Raposo, Laura Washington, Linda Pereira, Joe Camara, and Brad Kilby, because Leo Pelletier was away because his mother's passing, voted to reject it. No, we're going to keep that. We're going to keep that budget. We know it's illegal. We're going to keep it. So you're all acting illegally. And Brad, of all people, you're an attorney. You know better. You're supposed to enforce this.
That's right. He's got a canon of ethics attached to him.
Right.
But, see, herein lies the real problem for me. 2 weeks ago or so, we went in front of the council. I testified at the hearing. I gave everybody in the city council, except Laura Washington, I'm going to tell her, because I did speak to her and say I was going to make sure she got a copy. I gave them case law, legal foundation for the fact that there is a ethical and legal obligation to be transparent, to provide information, and maintain the public trust. Yet, in spite of that fact, the mayor and the new city administrator, who is an attorney and who knows what he's doing is illegal, is violating those ethics. And I'm going to say right now, so you'll know, I am preparing a complaint against the mayor and the city administrator for failure to provide those numbers, because it's their ethical and legal obligation. And also, in fact, that our new attorney / city administrator also said they're paying people outside the ordinances.
Correct.
He has a fiduciary obligation, not to the mayor, to the city. He should have said, Mr. Mayor, I can't do this. I can't authorize these payments. You've got to stop. He should have said it. The Corporation Council should have said it. They have a legal obligation as sworn attorneys to say, I cannot sit here and allow you to disobey a law. And you know that, Chief.
Yeah. You know what I would have done? If I was a member of the city council and I knew I could generate the votes, I would turn around and I would make a motion to eliminate from the mayor's budget chief of staff, media representative, and any other positions within the mayor's office. I'd eliminate them all, except for the mayor's salary. And then let him run the city the way Carlton Viveris did. You know, with this mayor, it's impossible. He'd be beside himself. He'd be pulling his hair out.
I'm not good with numbers, man. It's too hard.
Yeah, exactly.
It's too hard. Oh, well, I got it now. I just want to read it so they can say, because I'm going to give it to them verbatim. Section 1, definitions. The definition of an ordinance. Quote, ordinance, unquote. A vote or order of the city council entitled ordinance and designed for the permanent regulation of any matter within the jurisdiction of the city council as laid down in this chapter. So they are the legislative body. They are the people who fund these things. So it is a permanent regulation, not a discretionary regulation. That's why the Corporation Council said you can't do it. Because the only way you can change that and pay in excess is change the ordinance and change the wording. And they didn't. So what you're doing is illegal. It is not only a betrayal of the public trust, it's malfeasance on your part. And in the case of the sworn attorneys, I'm not sure if they're violating their canon of ethics as lawyers to allow it to happen. It's not enough for the Corporation Council just to tell the mayor, you know, Mayor, you're acting illegally. As an attorney, he has to publicly say this is not correct and tell him stop. Right. As your Corporation Council, stop. And the city administrator, as the city administrator with a fiduciary obligation, now with another layer of responsibility as an attorney should have told the mayor, you can't do this. You can't pay in excess of an ordinance.
Right.
But Paul, where does Paul come from? Where they can do any damn thing they want, nobody ever finds out. The school department.
That's right.
We can give out pay raises, we can do it, nobody asks any questions. Shut up. We don't care what Malone did, just shut up, nobody gets to know. Nobody gets to know anything. Violence in the schools, nobody knows anything about it. People get videos. Everything that happens in the school department is like, I mean, it's pretty sad when North Korea is more transparent than our school department.
Well, just remember, there's also tampons on the walls.
That's right, tampons on the wall, too.
Only in Fall River can we make this stuff up.
So
you know what I mean?
again, people be outraged. You're in a crunch. You go, it's going to cost you $100 to fill up your gas tank. You can't afford it. You're paying $17 for a burger. You got to choose between eating and getting your medications for some people. This affects the majority of people in Fall River, as I said at the council meeting. The majority of people in Fall River are working poor or below. We have double the state average, not double Newton. We got like 5 times the number of people in Fall River, 18, and I'm not going to go to decimal points, 18% in Fall River below the poverty level versus the state average of 9. Our per capita income and our household incomes are approximately half of the state average. So there seems to be no consideration at all for these people and the bind that they're in. And believe me, everybody's laughing now, but I'll tell you, when these tax rates come out, the pitchforks and the torches may be coming out.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Till T-Day.
That's it.
T-Day. And when the T's come out, the torches are going to come out too.
Yep.
So
it'll be like.
So don't laugh. I will remind this administration, they were bent over in hysterical laughter when we initiated the recall. No money. Third-term incumbent elected by 70%, possibly the most popular mayor in the history of the city of Fall River. Yet, 1 year into his 3rd term, he was bounced by 70% of the vote.
Yeah.
We flipped it over. Why? It wasn't because of us. We put it together. But the people. Remember what our Constitution says, government. You are our substitutes, not our monarchs. You are our agents, not our bosses. And you are at all times accountable to us. So beware. Don't let hubris think that this isn't a possibility. And if you're not sure that it can happen, get on a phone, call Chester Bodine. Ask him how he's feeling this morning.
Exactly. He no longer has a job. But hey, what the hell, right? Yeah. It just goes to show you. Hey, did anyone know that the governor and the lieutenant governor were in town?
Only the rich people.
Only the rich people. That's right. Only the people up at the industrial park, Commerce Way. And they were here to announce FORWARD. The acronym stands for Future Opportunities for Resiliency, Workforce, and Revitalized Downtowns. They still want to bring back the downtown.
50 years later.
Right.
50 years they've been redeveloping downtown. Downtown's
dead.
Dead. Especially when you stick a courthouse in the middle of it.
Exactly.
I mean, look, these people, it's the same old hackneyed crap they run on. Oh, urban renewal, we're going to redevelopment. We've been redeveloping Fall River since the mills closed up.
That's it.
We've had urban renewal. None of the crap works. We all know that. TIFs don't work. Urban renewal doesn't work. The only thing that works is getting people to work. And when you get people to work and they have money, cities like this can survive because small businesses can survive.
You know why Baker and Polito are doing this, right? Because they're done.
Of course.
They're done. That's it.
They're done.
$3.5 billion with a B.
Not only that, where did he give this little speech down here? You see, it's right in the second paragraph.
Yep.
Millstone Medical.
Yeah.
You think it's a coincidence that he was in what? Where did he make his millions?
Oh, that was Harvard Pilgrim.
Harvard Pilgrim Health.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't think he's got any connections?
Oh, none whatsoever. None whatsoever.
Not a bit. No. Yeah, and they're talking about it. So go ahead, CJ.
Polito calls this forward plan an economic development bill on steroids. It's $3.5 billion.
Well, you know what
But guess how much Fall River's going to get? $9.5 million. Well, and that's added to the nearly $86 million the city will receive in total from ARPA funding. Well, so now we're up to $95 million?
Yeah.
$95.5 million? No wonder we're so flush with cash.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's distressing to me that they're talking about this, and we have Polito when we were talking about Millstone Medical. Somebody should have told Polito that we got a problem if the economic development is on steroids, because you know what happens when you're on steroids, right? Your testicles shrink and you get cancer. That's what happens when you're on steroids.
And then you don't have a set of balls.
Yeah, that's right. That's what happens. So that's what's going to happen to this economic development, because all they do is throw money, then they don't develop the workforce, and it dies again. We've had more economic development policies than you can shake a stick at. And we know they don't work. They didn't work in Detroit. They didn't work in Miami. They don't work anywhere. Miami's got a great tourism industry, but the city itself is a disaster. So, you know, this is the whole thing. These people are short-term to dangle a carrot in front of the people, pretend that we got the answer, but they've had the answer forever.
Right.
And it's never the answer.
Right.
It's never the answer. It's like why I watched Janet Yellen this morning. I mean, talk about a pathetic figure. There she was. She screwed up at the Fed, called this inflation transitory, and then she's talking about how, well, it's not really going to be transitory, but then they come up with all the excuses. Then what does she do? She does what all the politicians do. She stopped talking about the economy because she's a total buffoon, always has been. And what was she talking about in front of Congress, her friendly Democratic Congress and the liberals, like she is? Global warming, gun violence. Listen, you're the Secretary of the Treasury. You're the Secretary of the Treasury. I don't want to hear what you think about gun violence. It's bad enough I had to listen to Matthew McConaughey because he's a movie star. The fact is that you're there to talk about the economy, you buffoon, the economy that you tanked, the economy that was going ahead like a locomotive till you clowns got in. That's what you were there for at Congress, not to talk about the liberal political agenda. So you deflect, and then they're all nodding their head, oh yeah, the gun, oh the gun, yeah. Well, let's not talk about the fact that you clowns are in charge of everything and you destroyed the country. You can't blame the Republicans. Keep trying. You're in charge of the House, the Senate, and you own a White House. And in a year and a half, you've destroyed the United States nationally and internationally. So I don't want to hear it. And the people are waking up. That's why there's going to be a bloodbath in the midterms. Because people are finally sick and tired of your lies and your promises. The same promises over and over again. Urban renewal, and what does our mayor say about it? Oh, it's a wonderful thing.
Hold on a second. Let me explain it first. The earmarks to Fall River include $5 million towards water and sewer projects for lead service line abatement. Oh, remember we have lead in our water? They're now going to start looking at that. $2.4 million to replace the Wilson Road sewer pumping station. And $1.34 million for the Downtown Recovery Grant. More than $600,000 for downtown restoration study.
Study.
That's a friend gets
By
a job.
By the friend
Right.
gets, the friendly studies.
Right, and $75,000 towards revising the city site plan review ordinance.
Yep.
So now we're going to take money for $75,000 to tell the city council how to do their frickin' job.
Yeah, and everything that happens, if you do get a new building, it was a welfare building because somebody gave you the money.
That's right.
The city can't control its finances enough to do what it needs. All this work has needed to be done for decades.
Right.
And every mayor promises to do it. And how many urban renewals? How many streetscapes? How many waterfront developments are we going to have? You want to go back and look at the archives, look how many articles? Nice to see Joe Good again. You notice she only writes articles that are going to give some
Fluffy ones.
Fluffy ones for the mayor. Oh, the mayor thinks it's wonderful.
Yeah. Well, here's what the mayor had to say about it, okay? Obviously, we want to do something about the lead pipes. That would be a big asset to help our water and sewer ratepayers, and taking some of the burden from those bills and then the money from downtown, said Coogan. So they are all good things. We will see how it goes through the legislature. Hopefully, it's another blessing for Fall River.
Blessing.
Well, I mean, he's always talking about religion.
Oh, yeah. Well, listen, look, okay. Here we go again. Obviously, we got to do something about lead pipes. Well, we should have done something about lead pipes a long time ago.
That's
we
right.
know that. But because you guys can't spend money. We never have any money to do anything. Let's look at it realistically. And I'm not only saying you. Every mayor that preceded you. How long have we had a lead pipe problem? As long as there's been lead in pipes. That's why. That's how. And how long have we been we've been dealing with lead and the problems with lead? How long have we had legislation about lead paint and asbestos and things like that? Half of the people that are talking about it weren't even born when this stuff started, and it hasn't been abated. It hasn't been done because these governments can't stop giving themselves pay raises, giving their friends jobs, and spending every single dime and waiting for the state or the feds to bail you out and give you a couple of dollars. Is it nice that we may get the thing fixed? Yeah, it's true. It is a good thing. But it's not a good thing that we had to depend on welfare, election year welfare, which is one of their other things they're always doing, to get the money. And that's the problem. But remember, is there anything in this grant about violating a law to pay people over? No, I don't. No. Maybe we should stick that in there.
Maybe.
But
you know, what's interesting is this is why Fall River is called the welfare city.
Yeah.
Because we exist on governmental welfare.
Yes.
One way or the other, we exist on it.
But our budget keeps growing.
Right. And I'm looking, I mean, we're lucky that our retirement system is in a good condition at this point in time.
Well, it's moving in a condition because they did everything they could to destroy it. And then they blame the retirement system like they blame the health care, which is running very well.
Right.
And they blame those two items, but they never complete the sentence that they created those problems.
Right.
You know, it was them that they created their own bill in the retirement system by not properly funding their share. The employees paid their share exactly to the penny because it's taken out of their pay. So again, here we go. It's an election year. They're all going to come down and parade and make promises. Guess what? Tomorrow you're going to wake up and it's going to be Brigadoon.
And I'll tell you now, every one of these things, if this grant comes through, will be on Paul's lips.
Yeah.
During the re-election process.
Yeah.
I did this. I did that. I did this. I did that. You didn't do it. The state did it. Don't take credit for something the state did. I'm sick and tired of politicians taking credit for things they didn't do. A previous administration did it. Oh, look at what I did. No, you didn't do it. The previous administration did it. That's the problem we have in Fall River. You bloody voters don't see through the bull. And the bull is getting deeper and deeper. I'm telling you, I'm up to my ankles in it right now, and it's not getting any shorter. So believe me, it's not easy.
Brigadoon. Every election year is Brigadoon.
Exactly. Well, I want to thank you all for watching, and remember, stay safe, stay angry, and hold your politicians accountable. I'll see you on Friday.
And you will be very angry on July 1.